Hello, world. How we doing? It's Victory Monday. Channel your inner Ted Karras. Up yours, right? Fuck the Titans. It's a great day to be a Bengal fan. How we doing? How we doing?
Hooday!
Doing good. I'm out of breath.
Me too.
That's all I got. It's a great show. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's out.
Yep.
Where did he go?
I'm back.
And he's back.
Yeah, okay.
He just switched sides. He's over there. Oh, I can't hit him.
That being said, we have a great show for you tonight. Here in probably 10 or 15 minutes, one Mr. Ace Boogie will be joining us to give us his thoughts on the Titans game, maybe a little bit of stuff moving forward.
We got a little boogie music to play when he comes on.
I don't know. I don't know what he's into.
Just
with that being said, we have sponsors now. Whoa, you got White, Casper.
What happened?
Joseph McMurray. Wow.
What the hell just happened?
You are neon white.
Wow. Yeah.
I need some sun.
Yeah.
With that being said, we're a legitimate podcast now. We have sponsors. The first one, Brimminghorn Meadery. You all of your mead need across the country, except for like 3 states. So if you're in those 3 states, I'm sorry about your luck. But they do ship to Ohio, and you can use our promo code Hooday9. WHODY 9.
You about lost your fan card right there.
Listen, I have a master's in English.
At least you didn't say who dat.
Hooday 9. That code gets you 15% off a purchase of 2 bottles or more. Basically, they're trying to help you cover the shipping cost because it is quite a far way away.
And you now get to pay twice as much.
Yeah, bottles are about $19 to $25 a pop. It's a pretty good price considering what they are. And it tastes like honey. Who doesn't want a little honey in their life? The other sponsor is Betfred Sports. I think I got a picture for that. Bam! Betfred Sports. Bam! Betfred Sports. Wait till you see me read this one. Use our code betfredsports.com/Ohio/Bengals12. Get pre-registered. It's currently illegal to bet in the state of Ohio, but for only 33 more days. Then you'll be able to be just like the Hit King himself, placing those wagers all over God's green earth. He's placing the first one. Can't make that face. And you can gamble legally and responsibly in Ohio. Must be 21 years of age or older. And then you can start placing bets. You can have fun. Get pre-registered now. Get chances to win tickets. Get chances to win merchandise. Get free bets. Put $20 on the Bengals to go to the Super Bowl. Might be looking like it might happen again. A lot of things are lining up. It's a great freaking day to be a Bengal fan. How we doing?
Don't forget, you don't have to live in the state of Ohio in order to take advantage of that.
No. You just got to come here to bet. You can deposit the money, go to Ohio, bet, come back, and still cash out in a different state.
Woo! Easy.
You just got to be here to say $20 on the Lions on Thanksgiving when you're in Vegas with your family. What?
It's a wonderful country.
I know. You just cross a river and you have a completely different set of rules.
Swim across the river. That's all you got to do.
Quite understand the logic there. But it is what it is. You could be like me and go to Vegas and say, give me $25 on the Lions on Thanksgiving. And the bookie look at you and say, we're going to have a very interesting conversation. This is a father-son learning moment. And I said, did I stutter? And then the Lions won. And I went up and collected that money with a shit-eating grin on my face. It was the happiest 10 minutes of my life. Am I right or wrong? That's a true story. That's not a blind squirrel, because then I did a 3-team parlay and Aaron Rodgers messed up on the last player. I'd have won like $800.
He goes.
So
all right, what we got here? We got a big win to talk about, don't we?
We do. And we do have some stuff that we want to incorporate with Ace, so we're going to kind of shift our focuses around here. So, James, I hope you're ready, because I'm going to put you on the spot.
Sounds good.
Cincy James, stats of the game. Let it rip.
We need a sound for that, too. We need sound bites.
Yeah.
Stats of the game.
Brimminghorn. Yeah.
We're just going to have the brimming horn for every single
The
segment.
Cincy horn. We'll go with that. Okay, so the first one that I want to talk about is the number 1. Do we know what that means?
The
Chase.
loneliest number.
1 sack given up.
1 sack. Greg's got it. He gets the gold star for today. 1 sack for that O-line, and that's it. That's
All right.
it. Yeah, I know, Santori, you put some stuff out earlier today.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of stuff about how basically since week 2, week 3? I think it was week 3. He has been the most protected quarterback in the league.
Right. So everybody likes to focus on the sack number, which, yeah, I mean, that's one way of looking at it. But Joe Burrow drops back just as much, if not more, than everybody else in the NFL. I think he's like top 4 in dropbacks. So when you look at his dropback percentage versus pressure rate, so how many pressures he has per dropback, over the course of the last 9 weeks or 8 games or so, whatever that comes out to, he's at 23%, which is the second most protected quarterback in the game, or the first least pressured quarterback in the AFC by a wide margin. 77% of his dropbacks he has kept clean, and during those dropbacks, he has a quarterback rating of like 104.
Yeah,
Can't complain.
I mean, I don't know where the narrative is about how shitty our O-line is, but he's not getting a whole lot of pressure anymore.
I love seeing the time. There was a few plays where, oh my gosh, Burrow's just standing there, and he's able to survey the field, and then sometimes that would have turned into a coverage sack. Well, no, he was able to have the time to be able to find the opening.
Well, and he's still finding open guys with half of his weapons out.
By the way,
And let's not go ahead, Greg.
Goodberry tweeted this out, and I was suspicious myself. Jonah Williams' last 2 games has been playing very well recently. So let's hope this keeps continuing. But shout out to Jonah Williams right now, who's secretly been doing a lot better last 2 games.
Health, I think.
Let's not forget who they were playing. Look at that defensive line they were playing. It wasn't like they were playing against some schleps.
No.
The last 2 games have been against the Steelers and then this front of the Titans.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
They're looking really good.
Yeah.
They're running the ball. I'm more impressed, I think, with the running because I think the pass blocking was starting to come. The running is now starting to come down. That's how you win games,
Right.
especially once you get later in the season. That ability to control the ball, control the clock, you can't overstate that.
I've asked people this question. Yeah, I get to ask you this flat out: P. Ryan or Mixon? Who would you start?
I know what I would do. I would start P. Ryan. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to split them and probably give a little bit of the nod to Mixon.
You broke up. What did you say?
I said I think they're going to split time, but they're going to give the nod to Mixon. Mixon will probably start the game. He'll probably get the first drive or 2. Then they'll blend in P. Ryan and they'll see how it's going. That's what I think they'll probably do.
I was going to save this for when Ace came on, but since you brought it up, so P. Ryan, since he kind of took over after Mixon got hurt, averaging 3.14 yards a carry. That doesn't sound awesome, does it?
No.
I think what the difference is, P. Ryan doesn't lose 4 yards on a carry.
No.
The Bengals are always seemingly ahead of the chains with P. Ryan in the game.
Well,
with Mixon, it doesn't seem to be as consistent.
Here's the other part of it, though, and this is the thing that makes me believe that P. Ryan is going to get more. He's going to get more time. It's not going to be a starting role, but it's going to be more time. 10.87 yards per reception. That's an extension of your running game when you're throwing it to the running back.
Yeah. And there's one other factor. He's a far better blocker than Mixon is.
10 times better. I called in Tony Pike's show today. He even said Burrow looks 10 times more comfortable when P. Ryan's in the backfield, it seems. Is that right? Am I right?
Mm-hmm. It's fair.
I mean, his biggest yardage games have not been with P. Ryan. So I don't know.
You know,
whatever it is, they're not in 2nd and 9 all the time.
No, they're not.
And again, let's
The
see
offense
what P. Ryan does when they play the Carolina Panthers. P. Ryan's in there against the Steelers defense and against the Titan defense. Kansas City's defense doesn't compare to those two defenses.
not at all.
So now let's see what it looks like now.
Fine. Or he did get in against Carolina. He ran fine.
But what I'm saying is his average would be better, I think, than Mixon's if he had all the opportunities Mixon had. He just runs harder. He gets to the hole faster, and he actually carries people with him when he gets hit. He's not.
I think it's the decisiveness.
Yep.
And I know the stat everybody's talking about where it's like Mixon's at 3.8 for the year and P. Ryan's at like 3.4 since Mixon got hurt. And, that's fine. But before the Carolina game, Mixon was at like 2.9.
Right.
Like, don't forget that. Mixon got like, I think 1/8 or 1/6 of his entire production for the year in that one game. Like, he had like 200 all-purpose yards and 5 touchdowns. What are Mixon's numbers outside of the outlier? What does he normally do? And what does P. Ryan normally do? P. Ryan's about half a yard better on average.
Yeah.
And I do think it bears mentioning that there's a reason he hasn't been a starting running back since the first year he came into the league. He hadn't been all that great. So now we're starting to see he's finally starting to play a little bit, starting to play a little better than he had in the past. I think it's going to be a 60-40 split is what I personally think.
The issue with that, though, is running backs are a position in players that they grow with experience in game because it's about feeling your line and feeling – it sounds weird. You can feel it in your feet in the ground with your cleats in the ground. You can feel it. It sounds very, very, very odd to say, but you can feel vibrations in the ground. You get a sixth sense about what's going on around you. But if you're not truly playing in a game, you won't get. So P. Ryan went from a top recruit out of high school to a fantastic running back in college to never playing in the NFL. And now that he's getting a consistent chance, he's putting up good numbers and people are surprised.
Yeah, I think
great talent. You need time to gel.
I can't throw the chat up, but Haas has a good point here. The O-line has been much better recently too. So P. Ryan's running behind a completely different offensive line, even though it's the same people.
That's what
there too.
Last night, because he was like, make his case for Mixon. That's a good point right there. Because when finally the line was getting better, that's when Mixon had that monster game. So I will say that. And so I'm interested what Mixon does with the well-rounded. So that's one point to put out.
Yeah, and Kansas City does not have a good defense. They're average, if not a tick below average. You still have Chris Jones on the front.
Yeah,
which is a pain in the ass, but there's not.
It's okay if you're playing one guy that's bad, that's tough. It's when you're playing 3 that's where it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That Karlaftis guy doing because that's the guy I wanted in the draft. Not gonna lie, I would have taken him over Dax Hill.
I have no idea how he's doing.
Okay.
I haven't heard. No clue.
Not a good thing, man.
When I watch the Chiefs, every once in a while I see him, but it's not like.
Okay.
He's not taking the world over like Micah Parsons did.
You know what's going to be disappointing about Mixon coming back?
What's that?
Is I'm not going to see my boy Travion play anymore again.
Look what he's done.
I know it. The guy's a hell of a running back, but again, he doesn't get an opportunity.
No,
he never gets a chance.
Bengal Dad, I was going to bring that up. He never gets a chance ever.
And I will say one guy that we may want to just throw out with the dirty bathwater is Mr. Evans.
Yeah.
Every time he touches the field, something bad happens.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Well,
I will say 95% of the time it hasn't been his fault, but
yesterday's was.
That one yesterday was definitely.
Yeah, that was so much his fault. He didn't see the field the rest of the game.
Right.
He got ripped right out of there.
That's one of those things that and I'm sure Ace would probably echo this, so we might ask him again. If a player's struggling to see the field and then they finally see it and then he screws up and he never sees it again, the coaches aren't real fond of you.
No.
So he was on a short leash to start, and he probably Just whatever goes on behind the scenes, we don't know. We might hear odds and ends. I speculate he just doesn't do well with the playbook. It might not be that at all. But at the end of the day, he hit it on field for a reason, and Zach Taylor's been giving everybody and their brother a chance when people go down.
Yep.
I mean, we're at Kwame Lassiter, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like everybody, we have seen Mike Thomas, Kwame Lassiter, Trenton Irwin, Trent Taylor. Anybody with hands and 2 feet has got a chance at receiver.
Yeah.
We're on our 4th running back, and for whatever reason, he's the only one not sticking.
Dude, Irwin with another.
Yeah, speaking of Trent Irwin.
Wow.
He is a very, very dependable number 4.
Is he? Well, no, didn't reports say that's all he does is hang out at the stadium. Like, he doesn't even, like, he's like first one there, last one gone, pretty much.
Yes.
I don't know.
That is what I heard as well.
I just know he catches everything that's thrown to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looked good yesterday. I do have another one. This isn't really for yesterday, though. This is more of a season-long thing.
Yeah.
Actually, more than a season-long. So you guys may have seen this stat. Burrow has had 18 straight games with a touchdown pass, at least one. That is the longest streak in the NFL. Second might be somebody you've heard of, Patty Mahomes, at 16, and then I think the next one was 11. He's got 27 total touchdowns, 4 rushing, 23 passing, and only 8 interceptions, and 4 of those came in the first game. He in 10 games since, he's had 4 interceptions.
He also has no interceptions outside games in the AFC North.
Correct.
Right. And he has 0 fumbles, too.
Here's my favorite stat about Joe Burrow. And this is the one that used to scare the crap out of me when Andy Dalton was going bad. Because when Andy was going bad, you'd start holding your breath every time you let go of a ball. Oh, God, he just threw a pick. He's going to throw another one at some point. It snowballed. So when kept clean, there's a stat called turnover-worthy plays. Plays that probably should have ended up or could have ended up in a turnover, right? Like, here's the deal. If I throw a 5 and out and the corner jumps it and it hit him right in the gut, that's a turnover-worthy play. He may not have caught it or not, but it's a turnover-worthy play. When kept clean, Joe Burrow has a turnover-worthy play percentage of 1.1%, which is dead last in the NFL, or top, depending how you want to look at that.
I would say that's a good last. Yeah.
Lowest number in the NFL by a wide margin. He's not getting hit anymore. He makes fantastic decisions. And all they've done is win 5 of the last 6 and 7 of the last 9.
That's incredible.
My favorite thing about Joe Burrow is that he's a Bengal.
Yes. That's the best way of putting it.
Oh, so, and of those 8 interceptions, 4 of them got tipped at the line.
Ace did message me and said that the practice went a little late. He's on the way home. I just told him, be safe. Get here when you get here.
Yeah.
Okay. I also did have one more, and it's a season-long thing as well for T. Higgins. What if I told you?
Higgins.
That's right. What if I told you he was top 10 in receiving in the league?
Not too surprised. Well,
if you'd have told me before the season, I'd have thought Chase was hurt, but
yeah.
Right, but he's top 10. He's showing he can be that number 1.
He is.
Oh, that's not. I've never had a question about that.
Yeah, but look at other fan bases. People are like, "Oh, Jamar Chase is out. You're not going to be able to do anything."
Yep.
Those are people that don't watch.
I know. That's why I'm throwing it out there.
People in my fan base don't watch close enough to make comments. You think I'm going to listen to what some jackwagon in Indianapolis has to say? No.
Hey, thanks
I don't care about Billy 2x4 in Minnesota. He doesn't have any idea what's going on with us.
And Chase has missed several games, and he's still 26th in receiving.
Okay.
I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to move on now.
I'm done with mine.
All right. Yeah. So we'll move forward a little bit here. We'll let Ace kind of jump in when he gets here. We're not going to pressure him into anything.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. But Dad, you kind of brought this up. What are some keys to victory? We'll each get one. Bengal Dad, you go first. We'll go clockwise here. Greg, you'll go, then James, then me. At least that's clockwise.
Well, there's 2 or 3 very obvious ones, but I'll go with the one that we've been talking about, the offensive line. You protect Burrow, I don't really care how many points you give up. I think Burrow will just keep slinging it until he beats you.
Yep.
I love protecting Joe Burrow. There's nothing more important on this team than protecting Joe Burrow.
Yeah, 100%.
Gregory?
You know what? One player I'm going to put out there, Sam Hubbard. Got a sack yesterday. Sam Hubbard, when you look how he lines up, I mean, he's just such a unique player. Since it's Christmas time, you know, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, how there's the island of misfit toys. He kind of fits that role a little bit, Sam Hubbard does. You can line him up on the end. You can line him up on the inside. You can line him up as a defensive back. If you use him the right way, he's going to be so dominant. So hats off to Sam Hubbard.
He could probably play lacrosse or safety.
Yes.
Corner.
Cross scholarship for Notre Dame when he was at Moeller.
Mm-hmm. Don't know anything about that.
I do like when they drop him back and he plays like a middle linebacker position.
Well, it's just a delayed blitz.
I know that's what he's going to do, but I get excited.
Everyone on the planet knows he's going to go 1, 2, 3. There it is. Go.
Yeah, 1 1,000, 2 1,000. Yeah.
Jimmy, James.
Oh, I'm trying to decide which one I want to go with because I got a couple. I'm going to go with the defensive line, the whole defensive line, because every time that they got pressure, I think we only had 1 sack, but they got a lot of pressure on Tannehill. Every time they got in his face, he let the ball go, and it was a horrible pass. High, left, right. They rattled him, I think. And I really think that they did a really good job yesterday, even though it doesn't show up completely in the stats.
I'm going to go with an intangible that you will not find in any stat book on any planet, and that's composure, because that game was sloppy as hell, and they could have very, very, very easily just caved after the 100th penalty that was called on them. It didn't seem to rattle them. It was just kind of like, all right, we keep going. Like there's another step back, another piece of adversity. I was losing my mind sitting in my seat. Like, Jesus Christ, it didn't seem to bother them. Yeah, they didn't play their best, but they just dealt with it. Years in the past, that would have just snowballed, and that game would have been 40-0 in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
They pulled it out. I mean, they're incredibly composed. On the road, not saying Tennessee's the most loud environment on the planet, but sloppy field conditions, basically a playoff setting.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing was going their way. No ball was bouncing their way, and they kept their shit together. That's impressive to me.
Hats off to one more player.
You might
Drew Chrisman.
We haven't done game balls yet.
Oh, well, that's kind of what we're doing, right?
Let's
Takeaways.
What?
We're just doing takeaways right now.
Takeaways.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't have any takeaways. No turnovers.
Game balls. Start with game balls.
Well, I can't give Drew Chrisman the game ball, but
What?
I do want to say he got him out of the end zone twice.
Yeah.
Huber wouldn't have done that. He helped flip the field.
Okay.
I'll give
Game
you
balls?
You don't want to give him a game ball?
No, I don't want to give him a game ball.
Oh, my God.
Game balls. How about the guy, Mr. Hyphenated?
Cam Taylor-Britt?
That guy.
Yeah.
He's coming on.
He is. PFF.
He freaking he destroyed Henry on one of those runs.
Oh, he did.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Hey,
Ace
what's up,
Boogie.
Ace?
What's up, fellas? How you doing?
Who dey?
Who day?
We were just giving out our game balls, man. You got a game ball you want to give out to someone?
Oh man, in this game, man, there's so many people that you can give it to. I would say I'm giving it to Mike Hilton, dog. Like 5'7" guy, taking on a 6'4", 240-pound running back several times. I could give game balls like Zach Taylor did to everybody, but if I'm picking one specific person, it's got to be him for the defense. Offensively, Trenton Irwin. I think Trenton Irwin, that catch, bro.
Oh.
I could easily give it to T. Higgins, but we kind of expected that. But Trenton Irwin, I think, stepping up. And special teams, Drew Chrisman for sure. It's not even close for me when it comes to special teams.
Well, you missed like the first 20 minutes of the show, but you've echoed everything we said, so we're glad that it sounded cohesive. So yeah, no, we've been singing the praises of Chrisman and Irwin and all those guys. We hadn't mentioned Mike Hilton yet, but my dad had just mentioned Cam Taylor Britt was playing down the boomsticks. Man, he hit some people.
He was definitely doing his thing. He's definitely. I mean, can you imagine if we would have recovered that fumble? Like,
man,
to even pretty much your typical Derrick Henry run. He busts out of nowhere. He typically ends that in the end zone. This kid just comes out of nowhere and knocks it out. I mean, man, if we would have recovered that, I mean, just the effort on that play to have something like that rookie being that smart to just think that on the fly and try to make a play was amazing.
For sure. And I know you played DB, right? I mean, we've had that conversation before. I mean, it's a culture thing to not give up on a play, especially defensive back. I mean, you're one of the faster guys on the field at that point. If something's breaking away, it's on you. Get down there and try and make something happen.
For sure. You got to make something happen on that play, especially. I mean, corners, they don't want to tackle guys like Derrick Henry. There's no way that you want to tackle guys, so.
He don't seem like he cares. He comes up and hits, man.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's the thing about you. It's like that's one thing you liked when I read about Cam Taylor Britt. He is not afraid to come at you. He will come at you. He doesn't care if that guy's 3 times your size. Cam Taylor Britt will come at you. That's what I respect about Cam Taylor Britt coming out of the draft.
Yeah, that's definitely a special trait in corners because you even look at some of the greatest ones like Dion, right? They didn't really like to tackle that. So that's definitely a rare trait and a good trait to have with corners that can tackle because, not to talk bad about any former players, but I can remember Le'Veon Bell just running up the sideline uncut into the end zone with a corner that could have easily tried to tackle him.
Hey, there might be people that don't want to tackle Pirine anymore after that stiff arm.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great. He did Derrick Henry impression on that one, right?
Hey, speaking of P. Ryan, I've been asking everybody this question. Mixon's come back healthy, flat out question. Would you personally start P. Ryan or Mixon if you had to make the choice?
I mean, for me, I don't this is a team thing, and I think, I don't think that there would be a problem because those guys go back to their college days.
Right.
But I would probably still start Mixon. I mean, P. Ryan, I think before this game and Mixon going out, I think he was already getting pretty much a decent share of the running back 2 work. So I think you just continue with that. Maybe you get him a few more carry opportunities. But, yeah, I think I'm still starting Joe Mixon. I don't want to start any kind of drama. Not saying that there would be, but, that is a guy that they did give a big contract to. I start to think about what happened with Corey Dillon and Rudy Johnson, how there was kind of some sour grapes in that kind of situation. I don't think that would be the case here, but I don't think that there's – if it's not a problem right now, why kind of cause that issue, right? Because if you do go in and throw that in, Joe Mixon's like, all right, well, I didn't lose my job from a performance standpoint. I really was out this game. After I just had a 5-touchdown game and I get benched, that could potentially start some issues, I think.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm the team where I'm thinking maybe like a 60-40 kind of split with Mixon. And then, I mean, P. Ryan's played so good. He's earned some more touches. I think everybody understands that and then gets that. So I could see a 60-40 kind of split personally.
I wouldn't even mind a 60-35 and a 5 from Travion. I mean, Travion, man.
There he is.
Yeah.
What is he?
Chris Evans is in trouble. Chris Evans is in trouble. That's all I can
We've speculated several times. What do you think's going on with Evans?
I mean, I would have to think whenever I see like players that are in, potentially the doghouse, has to be a number of reasons. Number one, more than likely the playbook. He must not know the plays, must not know what he's supposed to do. And it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you don't know where to line up, if you don't know what your assignment is, or he's making mistakes. I mean, we saw him make that mistake with the penalty, right? And then he pretty much disappeared after that. He tried to do the pick play. So I would think it would have to be something like that. It can't be the natural ability. Maybe, we're not seeing what's happening, behind closed doors. I'm not accusing him of that, But that's just where my mind would kind of go to is, okay, does he know the playbook? Does he know the responsibilities? Is this coaching staff comfortable with trusting him in those situations? So far, it doesn't seem like that's the case because there have been plenty of opportunities, I think, for Evans to really have a role, especially this last game. And for him to make a mistake in that role as soon as he's in there kind of tells me, well, maybe he doesn't. The thing that was telling to me was they put Trevion in there in a 5-wide empty look, I think, and he went out there and ran a route. And I'm like, all right, well, clearly there's one guy that is in that running back room that's easily the best route runner in there. And if he can't go out there and run that route, that tells me that there's something that's troubling him.
Yeah. Well, and we had said before you got on, if you're a player that's struggling to see the field, it's likely because of either playbook. I'm not going to accuse him of anything one way or the other, but obviously the coaches aren't as fond of him as the fans are. But it's a telltale sign that you're in the doghouse when you screw up on the first play and you never see it again.
Oh, yeah.
It's
one of the things back to the days, right?
Yeah.
Player, and then it's like, yep, you're out of there.
Right. And when you have a key player that screws up, what's the first thing coaches normally say? Well, get him the ball again. Just feed him. Get the confidence back up.
Right.
When you've moved away from that to get him out, he started with a short leash.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It must have been that there were some issues, possibly in practice, walkthrough, something there is not working. I hope that the kid gets a chance. I truly do. You know, we've seen him do some things. I think about the Detroit game last year. But, you know, I even look at special teams like Trevion made strides there as well. I just don't know, man. I'm a huge Chris Evans guy, but who knows? It's hard to tell.
So, Ace, where do you see the team moving forward? Do you see this as a repeat scenario of last year? Because the stars are kind of lining up that way.
It's definitely trending that way. It's funny because over the holidays, me and them talk a lot. We talk nearly way more than we do on the show, almost, it seems like. And I called him, I'm not going to lie, I had a couple of holiday beverages. I was feeling pretty good. This was before the Tennessee game, and I'm like, I think we're back, baby. I just have this feeling that we're back. This offense is rolling. Joe Burrow, like you just like him just saying that we're the big dogs. I mean, I just can't see a scenario where when I have this guy who could be the new Tom Brady, the new Joe Montana, whatever you want to call him, and he's in stripes, how I don't have a chance to go as far as it is. I mean, this game coming up right now, I'm super pumped about, but I really feel like at this point, for them to do what they did without a Jamar Chase, without a Joe Mixon, the offensive line is gelling. The struggles from earlier with them on the too high seem to be a thing of the past. The coaching staff is getting things together. They're calling the right plays. They're running a balanced attack. The defense is playing. Like, where's the weakness on this team? I just don't see it playing their best ball at the end of November, heading into December. We're still healthy. Like, if you really take out the Cheeto injury, who's really hurt? Like, everywhere, I'm going to knock on wood right now because I don't want to jinx this. But, you know, no major injuries to any starters, and you're just seeing guys around the league like Tristan Wirfs today out with the injury as well for 3 weeks. That could play into the Bengals game, and you just start to see this thing spiraling towards, could the Bengals make another run? Like, could we? I was thinking 10 games. If they win this game on Sunday, I might be thinking 11 games. I mean, this team right now just seems to be playing their best ball. When Jamar Chase went down, they seem to be ascending. You know, they ran into that speed bump that was the Cleveland Browns. But ever since then, this team just looks like they're unstoppable, and they can play any way you want them to. Look at what they did in the Titans game. I feel like they were the Titans in that game. They ran the ball. You know, they didn't throw much. They had a little bit of a balanced attack. They played good defense. They capitalized on field position. I mean, they can do that, and then they can hit you with Mixon for 5 touchdowns, or Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and all of these guys can go over the top of your heads for 400 or 500 yards. I mean, they just look like a team that is destined to repeat what they just did last season, except there may be a little change there in the end.
There's no team that scares me.
No.
There's tough games, but no team scares me at all.
Ace, this is my message to all the other hard teams we have to play. Don't stand on the tracks when the train's coming through. That's all I'm going to say. But you said it, Ace. I mean, besides Cheetah, I mean, very similar to last year. That momentum building up and all that, it's just incredible. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying. What was I going to say? My next question is Hayden Hurst. Has he lived up to your expectations? Has Hayden Hurst done what you thought he needed to do so far this year?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's funny because before they even signed him, I just happened to be looking out there, and sometimes I do AFC North talk. So when we first started, I think that was in 2018 when not before we had the official show, but the unofficial show where we met and we did a draft recap. I remember Hayden Hurst. I remember Ravens fans being so excited about him, and then I also remember when they traded him, they were upset about it. And I remember when that happened and when that went down. And I remember one day looking, and this may have been a week or two before they signed Hayden, and I looked at the remaining free agents, and I was like, hold on, Hayden Hurst is out there? And I remember that there was a lot of people were like, oh, Austin Hooper. I was like, no, we want Hayden Hurst. And I couldn't understand how he was that old because I was like, this guy just got drafted. But then I did my research, and it was like, oh, he went to the Major League Baseball League for a year, came back, and that's why he was so much older. But I was like, oh, it's a no-brainer. We need to go out and get Hayden Hurst. And so when they ended up getting him, I just looked at it from the standpoint of, all right, this guy just had like 500 yards 2 years before. I don't know why. He's just been a victim of bad circumstance, which you guys have heard it for a million times. But Mark Andrews was there. That forces him out. Then he has a good year, and then the coaching staff rewards him with, hey, here's Kyle Pitts to replace you and put you on the bench. So there was a lot of meat, I felt like, left on that bone. And to me, he's always been a guy that's very similar to Dallas Clark, right? Peyton Manning had that guy in Dallas Clark that could kind of run routes like a receiver, similar to Tyler Eifert. I kind of made that comparison too, right? Like the Bengals haven't had a receiver with kind of that skill set since Tyler Eifert. I felt like they were kind of missing that. And to get Joey B, that weapon to Hayden Hurst, I think where he's at, I think he's kind of been about where I would expect him to be at. You saw in the last game, they really got him more involved. I kind of thought the game that he had against the Titans, I thought that he would have actually a couple more games like that. But there's so many mouths to feed on this offense. But when you look at the numbers, 300 yards, I imagine him to be probably at 500-600 yards, maybe a couple of touchdowns here or there. So I'd probably say he's right where I expected him to be at.
Bengal Dad likes to talk about intangibles. And yesterday, there was a pass to T. Higgins on the right sideline, and he comes around the offensive line and trucks Bud Dupree with a block. I saw that and I was like,
"Oh man,
he just murdered him."
Yeah.
That was an incredible block, and that's just the kind of player that Hayden Hurst is, though. He doesn't need to be touching the ball to make an impact on the team.
Yeah.
I wish they would get the ball in his hands more. He's got, if you combine his hands, his speed, and his ability to run over you, I don't know the last tight end the Bengals have had that could do that. Rodney Holman comes to mind, but Rodney didn't really run you over. And I'm going back, 35, 40 years at this point. This guy, he's Tyler Eifert with an attitude.
Yes.
It's kind of what it is.
I agree. Like you said, Tyler Eifert, he would do the receiving stuff, but like you said, he's not a guy that's going to come and pancake a guy like Bud Dupree, of all people, onto the floor like that, man.
And you'd have been scared to death that Eifert would have dislocated a third kneecap or something. Anytime there was contact with Tyler Eifert, you figured the season was over.
Yeah, you had to worry about that contact with him for sure. No, I definitely agree with you on that one. That play, man, I think I had to have at least watched that play myself on Twitter like 20 times, at least minimum. Had to be 20 times. It was like, welcome to the AFC. Buddy.
I'll show people at work.
I got to say one more thing because you mentioned Ace. You mentioned Trent Irwin. I'm calling that the catch of the year right now. That was so important when he caught it. The acrobatic catch, just everything about that, and they just went right on to victory right after that catch. That guy he's such an unsung hero right now.
Oh, for sure. I agree with you on that one as well. I mean, I feel like when he first stepped onto the scene, right, it was last season, and we were like, who is this guy in the preseason making all of these plays? And it was Trenton Irwin. And I was just like, man, when are we going to get him in here? And it's funny because Zim tells this story all the time. It was the Jaguars game week 4, right? Trenton Irwin's on the practice squad. And I actually had the privilege of having a conversation with Troy Watchers, the wide receiver coach for the Bengals. But I remember we were out, and the Bengals win. Tyler Boyd has this big game, and we go out, and Tyler Boyd invites the entire receiver room to the place where we're at, and Trenton Irwin was there. And another thing that I remember seeing on Facebook, I think someone tried to get a Bengal to show up to a funeral, and they were like hoping that someone came, and it ended up being Trenton Irwin that came and showed up for the funeral. I mean, that dude deserves it, man. It seems like everything that people that are around him, they really get along with him. Seems like a guy that's got his head on straight, works out, seems like every day. It seems like they said that he lives there. I mean, that work ethic, that dude deserves it. And I think that he's definitely earned that role that he's got on this team. And I think we're going to see more from him. I don't think, even with Chase coming back, I think he could, him or Trent Taylor. I love Trent Taylor as well. He's a little bit smaller, but I feel like those guys will fit in as the wide receiver fours and definitely make some plays to come. That guy definitely deserves that roster spot for sure.
But he should be the number 4 receiver. He's done more in 2 weeks than Mike Thomas did the entire time he was here.
His whole career. I can't understand the Mike Thomas thing. The one thing that I will say, though, what Troy Walters told me is the person that made that room so close was actually Mike Thomas. He'd make sure that they would do stuff, especially during like COVID and stuff like that. He'd try to make sure that the receivers would hang out outside of the office and stuff like that. So that's why I usually go a little easy on him. I'm like, all right, okay, well, he's the glue guy. But, hey, we need you to make plays on the field. And I feel like this room is still glued together. But, yeah, Mike Thomas did not make those plays. We would have seen a little bit of that play if that would have happened.
Yeah. Well, we do have a kind of a silly segment, if you will. This popped up a few weeks ago. And Greg was telling me how he likes to compare Andy Dalton to a grilled cheese sandwich. It's not always the best thing on the menu, but every once in a while, it's just what you need. Yeah, we've all had a pretty shitty grilled cheese in our life too. So we call these Lutherisms, and basically for the previews of Monday Night Football, we give Greg 2 former players for each team, or a former player for each team and a current player for each team. And he tells us which food he thinks that they more or less feel the aura identifies as.
Yeah.
So since James, I know you've picked out some players for Greg. So who do we got today?
Well, do you have them queued up?
Yeah, no. So, hey, 2 weeks in a row, James was like, Greg, did you get the players I sent you? I'm like, what text? So a lot of times I was unprepared, so I had to do some thinking and all that. But this time I come prepared finally.
All right. Well, I'll throw the first one out. Okay. Right. The first one is George Pickens.
Oh, that's the one I forgot to write down. George Pickens and all that and stuff.
We gave it to you at
George Pickens as a
8 hours ago.
George. Oh man, I had the 3 guys written down and I thought of it perfectly. George Pickens right now. See, Ace, this is where I'm put under pressure here. George Pickens. You know, it's too early to tell still, but I tell you what, he's like chicken right now. He's like raw chicken, but if he gets cooked up right, he can be really good. But let's see how it goes. So he's chicken right now, but let's see how it gets cooked up. But if it's Midwest barbecue, that guy's going to be awesome.
Yes. A little sitting on the floor, a little dirty, right?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Santori throws up his version of what Greg says.
Yeah, he turns into something like, I didn't say that.
So, all right, the next one, and we'll stick with the Steelers on this one. Troy Polamalu, that's the former player.
Okay, this one I prepared for. He's like ketchup. You can use them all over the field. You can use them on potatoes. You could use it on a cheeseburger. You could use it on eggs even. You could use you could use him anywhere, and it's going to perform well. So he's like ketchup.
Glad I'm not in the eggs, ketchup on eggs minority. I'm glad that me and Greg are both on that team.
I like it. All right. Next, current Colt, Stephon Gilmore.
Okay, this one really. So he's known for batting down passes. So I compare him to pork chops. He keeps chopping down the passes. Pork chops.
All right.
I don't even have something for that. I just don't like pork chops.
What?
All right. Well, moving on. All right. This is a former Colt. Big slams. This is a former Colt, Bob Sanders.
Okay, when I read about him, I mean, he was called. I mean, like he just flat out hit people. He is a jawbreaker. He broke everybody's jaw by hitting you and all that. So Bob Sanders is a guy. I'll put it this way: TJ Houshmandzadeh, when he played, I'm sure he did not want to. When he was playing against the Colts, I'm sure he's like thinking, okay, where's Bob Sanders at? And he probably got drilled up the middle. That's one guy you do not want to go up against. So he's a jawbreaker.
And Ace, we got one for you. You got to jump in on it. All right. And he's on the shirt. We want to know what you think Tyler Boyd compares to.
Tyler Boyd, I'm going to say a lemon meringue pie because he's smooth the way he runs those routes.
I don't even know how to spell meringue.
No, I don't even, but you know what, Ace? I like that, man. I like that. See, you're put under the pressure, man. That's awesome, man.
That's good.
All right.
Are you spelling it?
I don't know how to spell meringue, so we're going with that.
Sounds good to me.
Close enough, right?
No.
Yeah.
I'm kind of dumb. It's all right.
Oh, that was great.
Ace, is there anything that you're working on that you'd like to plug? We're running toward the end of the show here. We always like to give everybody a couple minutes to plug something they may be working on.
Yeah, I do have a shirt. I don't know. I can't guarantee if Joe Burrow is going to wear it. I did send it to him. I'm hoping, we're going to have fingers crossed here that we see it on Sunday. But if not, I do have some new Tres Amigos merch that I have going on at newstripecity.com. We've got the Eye of the Tiger season going on right now, and I think there's still a sale going on right now. I think it's 20% off for any of the merchandise on the website. It's, I believe the promo code is We the Big Dogs. We the Big Dogs to get that promo code out of there, courtesy of Joe Burrow. But we got that Wincinnati podcast, as you guys know. And then I'm on Twitter at New Stripe City.
All right.
I do have a question.
Oh.
I got one. How does it feel to not have to carry a show right now?
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
Man.
Only because Zim's not here. That's why I said that.
Ace, I got two questions. One, how does it feel you don't have to worry about Luther vision? Because I've had the worst luck with you. Because every time I took a picture of you, it's like, Greg, got me sleeping. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I zoom in. I'm like, oh man, he really is sleeping in that picture. But the main question is, what was your reaction when you saw Joe Burrow walking into the stadium wearing this shirt? I mean, what did you honestly think that was going to happen? Like, how did you find out? How shocked?
No, so I sent this stuff like Tim had always told me like you should send letters with your merchandise. He was like, that's a major key because people like handwritten letters and stuff like that. And so I was actually getting tired of hearing all of the BS going on about people sleeping on Joe Burrow and the Bengals that didn't watch him the previous year. I really wish to this day that I would have saved the note or what I wrote to Joe Burrow, because I wrote one to Joe Burrow, Tyler Boyd, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and I sent them all theirs. I remember writing something about levels on Tyler Boyd's. Don't remember what I wrote about Joe's, but I feel like it was something like, let them keep sleeping on you. We know that you're coming. We know that you're going to have a big season. Who that? This was way back in the summer when nobody was talking about the Bengals. And so for a while, I just was like, I don't know if these guys got it. I remember Jamar Chase was the very first to post it on like his Instagram. He put it in like his story, tagged me, said thanks for the gift. And I was like, all right, well, that's cool. A lot of people saw the shirt, liked it. Didn't hear anything. So Ravens week, the week where all three of the wide receivers went off, I'm sleeping. I wake up the next morning at like 5 for some reason. and I've got all of these notifications on my phone. I'm like, what has happened? And I look and I open it up, and somebody recorded it, and they were like, Tyler Boyd just wore your shirt out after the game. And I'm like, what? So I turned that up, and I'm like, oh, Tyler Boyd's wore it. I'm thinking that's it. I'm thinking it's over after that. There's nothing else coming. I go to Disney with my wife for her birthday. I'm taking her to Disney World. And so we get on this ferry to get into Disney World. And my phone's going off, but it's my wife's birthday. I got to spend time with my wife, so I'm trying not to be on the phone or anything like that. Phone starts going off, and I'm like, I see it's Zim. It's game day. I know that he's probably calling about. That's what I'm assuming. He's calling me about the game. We're gonna have to talk about the game. But hey, I can't right now because it's my wife's birthday. So send him the voicemail. Phone rings again, like literally right after that. It's Zim again. And I look at my wife, and she's like, no, go ahead, pick it up. And he's like, bro, did you see what's happening on Twitter? And I'm like, what? What do you mean? He's like, Joe's wearing your shirt. And I'm like, what? And so with him on the phone, I go and look on Twitter, and it's Joe Burrow wearing the Migos shirt, which was just crazy because I sent him a t-shirt. He's wearing this in, I think it was December. Yeah, it was December because it was my wife's birthday.
26th.
He's got the jacket on, and I just see it, and it's just going crazy. And you know, only people that were within the Bengals community knew that it was my shirt. So then you start seeing like these bots stealing the design and putting fake links up under it. And so it was just a surreal moment. And I was just like, this dude really wore the shirt. And so I'm sitting there thinking, all right, I'm watching the game. We go and ball out. And then I'm seeing the shirt everywhere. ESPN is just going crazy. And everybody's saying, look at Ace, this is crazy. And I'm like, all right, well, I gotta wait and see after the game. But you have to remember that's when we won the division. So it was the King of the North shirt. So I'm like, oh, okay. I was wondering if he was gonna wear it to the press conference, but I'm like, oh, it's all good. I love that shirt too. That's not a problem. And so then I'm like, all right, I think that's it. Then we get off a ride or something like that. My phone's going off again. I'm like, what's going on now? And then I turn it on. It's Tyler Boyd going into the locker room, going live. And it's Joe Burrow like wearing my shirt. And it's like him and Mixon, like just having a good time in the locker room. I'm just like, this is insane. And then, you know, about an hour or two later, then the photo goes viral of them wearing the shirt, and it's Kings of the North, and it's posted on Joe Burrow's page. Like, you got to understand, I've done business with companies that have a whole Joe Burrow line. He has never posted his stuff in their shirt on his page. You got to think about it. It's like, this is crazy. That's where he did the Chris Jones picture and all of that, his famous captions, and I'm just like, this is crazy. So it was surreal. It was a blessing. I mean, Joe is just an amazing guy. He exemplifies Ohio. My wife, even though it was her birthday, she had a great time. It was amazing. My phone just kept buzzing. Then the next thing I knew, I was on the news, all because of Joe Burrow just being a good, cool guy.
She knew that might have made you a little money, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. She was good with that. She was like, all right, we're good.
Yeah. Hey, that's where right at Disney World where dreams come true, right?
Dreams come true, for sure. For sure. It definitely came true that day. For sure.
Right. Oh, that's awesome. I love it.
Well, that probably does it for our time. We do like to try and keep things under a tidy an hour here. But Ace, we really appreciate you coming on, man.
Yep, thank you.
I've personally bought several of your, hoodies and sweatshirts. I wear them all the time. They're great. So yeah, keep up the good work. Keep pumping out the Migos stuff, man. Hopefully they're all here long enough so we can get more shirts over the next couple of years, and keep doing what you do, man.
For sure. Thank you guys for having me, and anytime, guys. Anytime you want me to come on, I'll definitely stop by.
All right,
awesome. Appreciate you.
All right, guys, take it easy. Who Day?
That's right.
So
that was cool.
That's awesome.
Has a little bit of insight and inside information to the Bengals. Always nice to have some good stories and information on the show. We really appreciate everything he does, and I'm not just talking out my ass when I say I've got some of his stuff. I've got the GTA hoodie was sitting right next to me that he did. It's super comfortable, in all honesty. And for those of you that are plus size like me, he makes them in big sizes and they fit well. So, if you're thicker than a Snicker, I do recommend. Well, with that being said, it is Monday night. We got Monday Night Football coming on here in just about 30 minutes.
Who are we rooting for?
Colts. Oh, no, not Colts. You don't want the Colts. You want who are they playing?
I think we're rooting for Pittsburgh, aren't we?
Yeah, I think we
Actually,
might.
I want Pittsburgh to tune it up a little bit.
Can
because
we
I got the
root for a
Ravens
chaotic tie?
What?
Chaotic tie.
Yeah.
Help me real quick because I haven't looked at standings or anything like that. Why would we want the Colts to lose?
Because
They're about a game and a half closer to the Bengals than the Steelers are.
Yeah.
they're about 2.5 behind us with 6 to go. Another
I didn't
loss.
realize
Just push
they-
it back a little bit.
Just
Okay.
put the fork
But
in
you
it.
definitely want Pittsburgh to gel
Yeah.
because Pittsburgh plays the Ravens twice
Right.
in a period of like 4 weeks.
Well, no, Santori, you pointed out on a separate show, Pittsburgh's playing better also. And there was one other team you pointed out, Cleveland. Well, with Cleveland I don't want to talk about Cleveland, but yeah, Cleveland could give them a hard time. So, so it's not as easy as it looks, like you said, for the Ravens.
Well, it looked easy, and then yesterday they got exposed again.
That's ridiculous.
They don't finish drives. I think that's what Baltimore's problem is they don't finish drives.
Right.
They settle for so many field goals.
Yeah.
Do you think that Matt Ryan has a little magic left in the tank tonight?
No.
I mean, the Steelers are what, 32nd or close to it in terms of defending the pass? They're down in the bottom, if I'm not mistaken.
Where's the game being played?
Indianapolis?
Probably.
That's a 50% shot.
Yeah. Well, and it would be back-to-back games in Pittsburgh, so I'm going to guess probably Indianapolis.
Santori?
I was answering an email.
Oh.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
Glad we're important.
No, you're not.
We know.
I don't know who's going to win the game, but I think I'm just rooting for Pittsburgh to gel a little bit. Plus, it wouldn't hurt for Pittsburgh to go on a run.
It is.
Win like 8 games so that they don't get a real good draft pick.
Tom mentioned Tom Brooks said, yes, it's indoors in Indy.
It's an Indy.
So we got our answer there. I just have trouble rooting for the Steelers.
I can't. I could never root for Cleveland.
If it benefits me, I'll root for whoever I need.
Like,
Especially when they have 3 wins.
Bengal Dad, when I was at your house one time and you were rooting for Cleveland, my Bengal Dad, I just can't do it. I can't do it. That was like right around the time you fainted and all that too, when somebody was helping you out with the TV screen.
Yeah.
Whoa.
What happened?
Ashley.
she's with Tom?
She's with Tom, but that's
Wait,
about coffin nails.
Wait a minute.
Is
I
it?
read that too.
Ashley!
Are you here?
Hold on, Tom.
What's happening?
Oh, I mean, you.
Tom, you didn't like my mouth before. You're about to get it.
Hey, by the way, Crypt is, definitely asking for something, Bengal Dad.
Why does he keep asking for that?
The singing.
I know it.
Come
Yeah,
on.
do it.
That could be the thing that we end on right there.
Yeah.
Singing with Dad.
In the coffin.
I'm never prepared for it.
The nails in the coffin.
You
She's defending herself now.
gotta sing.
Coffin is Tom's back.
I'm in the living room putting lobster costumes on our dog.
What?
Oh, goodness.
The Halloween stuff was on clearance.
She might have.
You bought Halloween.
Lobster costume.
You got a song?
Yeah,
Maybe
let's go.
I'll
Okay, I got one here.
Okay.
Come on.
Got a little bum buddy da bum bum. Happy trails to you until we meet again Wednesday. Happy trails to you.